Welcome to Verbal Peak Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show. We getting ready to get started, like we always do around this time. I just want to give you all a brief synopsis on how I'm viewing this presidential election that's coming up, but in particular, Joe Biden. In particular, we want to get into what they were talking about as far as the gaffes that he made, and y'all give me a little time. Here we go. Wait, give me a little minute to get this thing going. Hold on, we getting close. That's not it. And we're getting close. That's not it. Anyway, we'll I'll get it together as I go into it. Now, Joe Biden did a speech in Delaware. They were naming a pool after Joe Biden, who's running for the presidential. Who's running for to be the president for 2020. Excuse me while I try to find this for you guys. We're getting close. So anyway, a lot of people was upset over the statement that he made regarding roaches, how he used to be a lifeguard at a pool in Delaware, and he used to let the kids play with the hair on his legs that was wet, and he said it would turn blonde in the summertime in the sun, and he would let the kids play with his hair, and they would watch it stand back up straight. And okay, here we go. I did find it. Okay, now we getting ready to roll. All right, we getting ready to roll. Okay, and so, okay, we got it queued up and ready to go. Now, basically, what I want to say is, when you hear this, you have to realize that this is coming from a mindset, basically coming out of the 60s. He says he knows black people because he learned a lot. He know about roaches. The black people were intrigued at the blonde hair on his legs as it stood up straight when they would reach their hand in the pool and rub on his leg. Then they jump in his lap. But basically what he was saying was, look, I was the only white guy in this area, and the black children were fascinated with me. They were looking at me as an enigma. They were studying me. They got a chance to, for the first time, he's saying as in a sense, as if he was a Jesus figure in a sense, I like he's the savior for black people. But that's always been the narrative, though. Black people, roaches, downtrodden, poverty. You need a white person to come in the image of Jesus to save you, to defend you, to save you from yourselves, who has your best interest at heart, and they'll fight for you and make sure you get a fair shake in America. That's that mindset. It's not Joe Biden's fault that mindset still exists today. We played into the mindset as well. Because you can't say you didn't have those out there or leaders at that particular time saying no, integration is not good. Look, why don't we do something for ourselves and let's build something for ourselves in our community? Why don't we educate our own? Why don't we teach our history and black history going all the way back to Nubia? Let's talk about the pyramids. Let's talk about mathematics and science and alchemy and astronomy. Let's build, and you'd have some that would splinter off into pockets and would study that. and would try to work that, but the masses, we never had that as a whole, building on something for ourselves, working towards something for ourselves. We haven't had that. We're trying to get to that point. But the point that I'm trying to make is there's an old mindset that's still trying to hold itself relevant in today's time. But that mindset is outdated, and it has no base or foundation to stand on in this particular period in time, especially going into the year 2020, because black people are separating. So when you have Joe Biden that makes certain speeches like this, he's not in his mind. He think he's talking to black people as a whole, but actually you're talking to a small percentage of black people, because today you have a lot of black people now who look at Million Man March, who's taken on the ideology of the Nation of Islam, Pan-Africanists, the Moors, a large population who don't get off into rubbing a white man's leg just to see the hair stand up on the leg and was fascinated about it. And he likes kids jumping on his lap and whatnot. But it's no shot at Joe Biden at all, because that was the mindset at that time, even though you do have some black people in 2019 with a 1960s mindset. True. He's speaking to that crowd, but a lot of those are older or who had grandparents or parents who kept the upcoming generation in that mindset, But you have a large population of black people who don't think like that, who don't see it that way. So the problem is they have to figure out, who are you projecting your message at? Which audience are you trying to reach? Because you're getting caught in the middle. You're getting some black people saying, wait a minute, you know about black people because you know about roaches? Hold on, wait. Let me play it so you can see what I'm talking about. Right here on Vero Pig Radio.
Basinski, a defender. I'd only been admitted to the bar 1 week, and Earl Larkin was in chains around his ankles.
We're going to bag that up. Y'all got to hear that part too. In chain around his ankles. Hold on, we got to get all of it. We got to cue this up. Cue this up for you. You got to hear it.
My name Eddie Sobocinski, a defender. I'd only been admitted to the bar 1 week, and Earl Larkin was in chains around his ankles and on his wrist, and they were chained together, so on a belt. And he said, "Who's going to try the Larkin case?" I just got started, and he was aptly named. His name was Judge Stiftel, and he said. Sobocinski said, "Well, that's my colleague. He just joined the public defender's office." He said, will you in fact defend him?" So she turned to Larkin and said, "He'll defend you." I said, whoa, Your Honor. I know nothing about the case. He said, "I'll give you till tomorrow, but you draw the jury today." And he looked at Larkin and he said, "Do you mind if he represents you?" And I'll never forget what he said. I learned a lot. He said, and I mean it sincerely. He looked at me and he said, "One hunky's just as bad as any other. I'll take whoever you send me." And here's what I want to tell you about Earl. Here's what I want to tell you about the neighborhood and the heart. I defended him. He got beat up right on the other side of the field here. He walked along the tracks. He was a sailor in a sailor's uniform, the guy who he beat up and robbed. And so I thought he was innocent. I kept the jury out 5 hours, but they convicted him. And I felt so bad. So I go down to the old prison all the time. They had little wooden tables and two little chairs and a big dome you'd sit under where you'd be interviewed. And I was sitting there, Councilwoman, and the third time saying, "I'm appealing this case." And finally, he took the table, he flipped it up, and he said, jumped up, and the guards came and grabbed him. He said, don't you understand, Joe? I did it. I did it. But here's the point. He cared about me. This is a man who saw me bleeding because I saw this guy going to jail and I thought he was innocent. There's character, even in great problems. There's so much character in this neighborhood. There was so much character back then, too. So many people didn't get a shot. So many people didn't get a shot. Who could be standing right where Lisa's standing today, a lot earlier, could be standing where I'm standing today. Let me end by saying, I was a pretty darn good lifeguard. Yeah, man. I taught swimming, too. And I remember going over, we used to play the other pools, and we played basketball at lunchtime, remember? We went over to Riverside, we played, and someone on the other team threw the ball.
Now, come on, we're going to finish it. We're going to finish it. But the point I'm trying to make is that's how they see black life. Poverty. Character in the midst of problems. Injustice. The criminal system. Fighting. Chains. Knives. Guns. You know, some of you had the mentality and the mindset to make it, but hey, your circumstances was off. Things were bad for you. I mean that's the narrative. You get what I'm saying? That's the narrative, and it doesn't make sense to me. And I was trying to find the quote where he was talking about how he was saying how. The leg thing where everybody is upset about, but read the story on that part and you'll get what I'm talking about. But the point I'm trying to make is when the narrative that Hollywood or that, quote unquote, America, the way it sees black people, they create that narrative of poverty. What did Trump say? Rodent-infested Baltimore. What he called African shithole countries in Africa. Speaking on Nigeria, Joe Biden talking about roaches. It's a narrative that, hey man, look, black people. This is when they say when they used to say, I gotta put you back in your place or you out of your place. Your place is, and this is the place that they want to relegate black people to. Your place is hard times, poverty, black on black crime where black folks killing each other, loud black women fighting each other, disrespecting each other, the black community no love for each other, don't care about your community, you'll burn it down in a heartbeat, don't care about educating your children. If you want to keep anything away from a black person, put it in a book. But then, the great white savior has to come, the white Jesus has to come, give you a book and teach you how to read. Tell you can make something of yourself. You can be somebody. Find that special token to pull up and parade them in front of the black community and say, hey, you can be like this one whenever the scales are tipped. Hey, look. Like as Malcolm stated at the March on Washington, Dr. King's March on Washington, how the community was fed up. They was going to Washington to tear it up and demand rights. And then white folks, they put Martin Luther King and others in front of the black, in front of the people, and told them what to say, what time to be there, told them to get out of town before sundown. Malcolm called a farce, and said, "Hey, man, if you want to see more of it, just watch the Godfather of Harlem as it predicts that march on Washington." It was like, wow, man, it's a show. Even Adam Clayton Powell Jr. was like, come on. But the thing is, hey, we'll pull you up, put you in front of your people to calm them down and play the game, just like they did back in the day. Look, we're going to pull these preachers up. We're going to teach you a couple of phrases from the Bible. You teach what we tell you to teach to your people, to keep them passive, to keep them asleep, but we want them woke just enough to serve their purpose or to do their bidding. And it's playing out today, but it's playing out to a certain percentage of the population, because you got another percentage of the population who pulled away from their mindset and was like, hell no, we won't go. Y'all can have that. Look. And they split up families. I mean, you could be in the same household and you got one or two members. It could be 5 people in the household. It could be 6 people in the household. 3 of them will be passive. The other 3 are saying, look, I'm finna stand my ground. I can't live like this. 3 of them are say, I know all this police killing and all this racism and within the justice system, but we got to sing about it, we got to pray about it. One day it's gonna change. And the other 3 members of the house say, man, the hell with that. Look, that's what y'all do. Learn the law, protect yourself, arm yourself. Don't be aggressive towards nobody, but fight like hell when they come up against you. Now hell no. When the police pull you over, whatever he asks for, you give it to him. But don't Bob, look here, you a man here, man. What do you want? Here go my ID. Here go yes sir, how you doing? Here you go. You know what I mean? All of this, you got to do this and make sure he don't do that, and because no matter what you do, it's not gonna work. It's been proven. You can, in your mindset, you say, "Hey, man, I'm legal. I got a concealed to carry license." Well, let me see your license to carry. Well, here you go. Let me reach and get it for you. Oh, I see a gun. Bam, bam, bam. They shot you. In other words, what he's saying is, nigga, what you doing with a gun? That's all. Hey, look, man. Hey, the job is stressful. I'm a police officer. Black man with a gun. Didn't know what he was going to do. Hey, we see what's going on the news. Hey, this shooting was justified. And on that note, man, shout out to Low Q. What's going on in the Colorado Springs, Denver? Young black brother shot. But I'll give you all more info on this, on what's going on. I don't want to speak too in depth on this situation until I get the actual facts. So, but when I do have the actual facts, I'll relay them to you all. But I do want to let Brother Low Key know that you got our support and the listener support right here on Verbal Pick Radio. Shout out to the Houston, the post office North Houston facility. I know y'all working hard getting ready for this holiday season. You all do a great job. Keep up the good work. Stay strong. But in ending on the Joe Biden narrative for black people, because you have to realize he wants to be the president of the United States, right? But he wants to project a narrative or a position for black people in America if he becomes the president of the United States. And so far from what we've just heard, he's creating a narrative for black people out of what he experienced around the area of black people that he had the time of being around. And from what he explained, that he was around black people who were in a impoverished condition, in poverty. Blacks who he gave a story of. He told one guy, now check this out. Check this out. You couldn't get in the pool if you had pomade in your hair, meaning grease, or Jerry curl juice or something, unless you wore a cap on, a swim cap, right? So one guy got on the on the diving board with pomade in his hair, right? Now, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Now, how did he know he had grease in his hair unless he had a Jerry curl or somebody told Joe Biden or he knew what grease was? I don't know, but the guy getting on the board had grease in his hair, right? So Biden told him, you can't get in this pool with that grease in your hair. You got to get off the diving board. And the guy name was Esther something. He was like, are you talking to me? Yeah. He said, well, when it's over, I'll meet you outside. So Joe Biden said with another white guy who used to work on pools, told Joe, look here, take this chain, wrap it around your hand. Tell him you might cut me, but I'll wrap this chain around your head. Right. And he was like, Joe Biden was telling the other white guy, that's what I should say. He was like, if you want to come back to this pool, that's what you better do. So long story short, Joe Biden was like, he ready to go. The guy ready to go. And then he was like, look, you may cut me, we may fight, but look, you're not getting on that board with that pomade or that grease in your head. And but I will apologize for calling you Esther or whatever. And he said, you apologizing to me? He was like, yeah. And Joe Biden was like, well, he put the straight razor up and his heart started to beat again and everything was cool. So now he touched bases on black hair grease, roaches, because he said that, He learned a lot. He learned about roaches and they got something in common. You got to hit a hole. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, he learned about roaches. He learned about hair grease. He learned about poverty. He learned about crime. He became a public defender, defending people, and he learning blacks. And I mean, come on, man. What I'm saying is, he sat back and studied the black community that he knew of and said, wow, this is black life. Right. Then they said, well, you know what? In order for us white people not to be outdated, we got to make sure that black life remains the same. That way we can keep our positions. Right. And we don't have to alter anything, and we can keep providing the services for black people for generation to generation to generation, as long as the dynamics doesn't change. Right. So they already got their future projections on, how much aid and how much money they're going to give to black people. They got their future projections on what the criminal system will look like, what the jail system will look like, they got that. As long as it stays the way it is, right? Then lo and behold, you have someone like Minister Farrakhan, Brother Farrakhan, comes and say, well, you know what, look, let's do a Million Man March. And nearly 2 million showed up, right? Whoa, wait, whoa, that's something that happened in the plan that we didn't foresee. So now we got to deal wisely with him, right? And those who think like him. and the Umar Johnsons and the even D.L. Hughley, Bobby Hemmett and Brother Panic and Brother Jamal and brothers who think Pan-Africanists, the Moors and, Brother Bay and, just so many out there, 5% Nation, what's up, Gods and Earth? So many people out there that is breaking that old mindset to where now new politicians who's running, whether it be, whether you white, black, Hispanic, or otherwise, right? There's a new force and a new dynamic that's on the scene today that you unfamiliar with, right? But the thing is, you have to get familiar with this new dynamic, but yet, wait, what do I do with the old dynamic? What do I do with Rum Chickenfoot and, and that whole crew? They gonna get mad at me if I go over there and start dealing with Brother Farrakhan and the conscious community. I can't, they see it's confusing. They weighing their options, they weighing their options. And the people look, and you got a lot of people, hey man, if you can't sit down with a meeting with Minister Farrakhan, you don't have our vote. And let Farrakhan vet you. You don't have our vote. You can go over there and deal with what they deem, and I don't like the term slave-minded Negroes, but some of them are slave-minded Negroes. Come on, goddamn, that's what it is. But I don't like the term. I call them survivalists. It's like when you're back against the wall, right? When some people's backs are against the wall, and they don't have that strength or that confidence within themselves to think their way out, that boldness to get their way out of the situation, then they take propositions in order to save themselves. And a lot of time they go against their nature, they go against their character, but it's justified when they say, hey man, I had to do what I had to do to survive. But then you got another quarter population who says, look, I stand by my word, and my word is bond, and I give my life before my word should ever fails me. And they look them dead in the eye and say, now what? Meaning, today in time has changed to where you can't group all black people in one group and say, this is black people. You do got some pockets out there that still is caught up in the old Willie Lynch, that haven't broke their Willie Lynch chip, put it like that. But you got a lot that broke the chip, and they sitting back watching. And some of these politicians wondering, I put my best jig on and, it's not working like it used to work 40, 50 years ago. What's going on? They trying to figure this thing out. Look, I went up there, I called out some of their leaders. I took pictures with them, you know what I mean? I gave them 5. It's not like back in the day when Bill Clinton could play the saxophone and black folk went crazy and said, oh man, that's the first black president, Bill goes. Because you got a strong percentage of blacks now saying, okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah, you can play the saxophone, but what are your stance on these issues right here? You can't dazzle me with the sideshow. You can't sideshow Bob me. Let's deal with some real issues. Let's put everything out in the open. Let's put it on the table. Let's deal. Then you got some, all right now, that's what I'm talking about. Play just like a black man. You come on in. You want us to fix you some chicken and some greens. Come on in, this good white man here. You still got that percentage. You do. But then you got another percentage who like, man, I don't give a damn about that shit. What you gonna do about fixing these roads? What you gonna do about healthcare? What you gonna do about the economy? What you gonna do about jobs? What you gonna do about something that matters to my voting interest? And I'm just saying, it's out there. It's damn near split in two. So this is just something for those who are running for political office. You cannot put our black people in one pot, one group, and you think you know the mentality or the pulse of the black community. No. The pulse today of the black community is a lot different than what it was when some of you had your first encounter with the black community. The pulse is a lot different today. Leave me. It's not the same. Now, you do still have some of the same dynamics as I stated. Still have some fools run out there thinking black on black crime is cool and, we going to diss each other in public and we going to make a public spectacle and whatnot. That's a percentage of it. You right. Some of them still exist. You right. But then you, like I stated earlier, you have a different dynamic out here that don't think like that, don't act like that, don't want none of that, don't want to deal with none of that. They want to enjoy life, have fun with their family, want to make them some money. They want to take trips, go on vacation. They want to own businesses. You know what I mean? But no, they are doing all of that. So, hey, that's just a word to the wise. Verbal Pick Radio. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Before I go, shout out High Frequency. What's up, Brother Abdul? Yeah. Graphics. Get ready. We working on the site. VerbalPickRadio.com. We getting ready to get that going. But just, be patient. As something that I learned over time. Because, I used to be 100 miles an hour. Go get your movies here. Now, I got to have this ready because what if it's not ready and people see it, then I disappoint the people and then then I got that stain on me because I disappointed the people and so on. Man, be patient and let it do what it do. It is what it is. Enjoy life. Verbal Pick Radio. We're out.